Texas has slowly begun reopening its businesses, but not included in their reopening plan are salons. You've probably heard the story because it's kind of nuts. A salon owner refused to shut down, opened in defiance of the state, and was actually arrested. A judge ordered her to apologize, and she said no, that she has kids to feed, that her employees have kids to feed as well, and she will not apologize for running her business to feed her family, and she didn't think she did anything wrong. Well, the Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, is defending her, offering to pay her $7,000 fine. We're also hearing that the Texas Attorney General tells the judge he's out of touch and abused his authority, and I completely agree. But you want to know the craziest thing about all of this? You see, the other night on the Timcast IRL podcast, we were talking about the absurdity of certain jurisdictions releasing inmates from their jails and prisons, but then arresting a salon owner. And you see, we thought, silly us, that Dallas, of all places, wasn't going to be releasing their inmates, and this was clearly not the same jurisdiction that would put a mother into jail for trying to feed her kids while releasing criminals. Oh, wait, it is. Yeah, that's my bad. Fox 4 KDFW. Officials release 1,000 inmates to ease crowding. Slow spread of COVID-19 at Dallas County Jail, April 16th. Should have did the Google search. That one's on me. I apologize. But think about how absolutely insane this story is. I kid you not. A woman said, my workers, my friends, my family, they need support. We are going hungry. I will run my business and I won't apologize for that. And they decided she should go into the jail. Now think about this for a few seconds. If their concern is that the people in the jail will contract coronavirus, would it not be cruel and unusual punishment to put someone willfully into that place? Maybe not, fine. But you think about the severity of the actions she's taken. She was opening her business. That's it. But the most shocking thing of all, she didn't go to jail because she opened her business. Look at the fine print. She went to jail because she told a judge she would not apologize. Is that the kind of country we want? Where a judge or some authority is going to be like, apologize to me, and then I won't send you to jail. But if you refuse to to bend the knee, then we're going to lock you up. Welcome to America, man. This is what we're becoming. And it raises a lot of questions about, how long liberty really lasts. Perhaps as societies grow in age, they just start adopting more and more authoritarianism. And it's scary, I guess, right? Well, isn't there some quote about, resetting the government every couple hundred years, something like that? I don't know for sure. But what happens, in my opinion, is that more and more laws go on the books. More and more, populations, they become denser and denser. People demand for more protections and more security. They panic, they get scared. And then eventually you end up with a judge saying, all right, if you don't apologize to me right now, I'm going to lock you up and take away your freedom. That's not supposed to be a thing we do in this country, but they did. Well, there's some cool things about this. For one, the Texas Attorney General is calling out the judge for doing this. This judge is a tyrannical moron, if you were to ask me. I would not be so polite as the salon owner. In the video, she says, with all due respect, I appreciate blah, 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 but I'm sorry. I need to feed my family. I would not have said it like that. Now, I wouldn't go on a cussing rampage, but I would have made some verbose and grandiose, absurd speech. Give me liberty or give me death. Come on, bring it on. Texas Attorney General tells out-of-touch judge he abused his authority by jailing salon owner who opened her business despite stay-at-home orders so she could feed her kids. Texas salon owner Shelley Luther was sentenced to 7 days in jail on Tuesday. They say Governor Greg Abbott started phase 1 of Texas reopenings last week, which did not allow salons to resume business, but that didn't stop Luther from opening up. Dallas County Judge Eric Moye found Luther in criminal and civil contempt of court and told her she owed local leaders an apology. Could you think about that? You will be in contempt of court and I will lock you up unless you give us an apology. Sorry, man. I'm not playing that game. Sorry. You don't deserve my respect. There is a bunch of other news as well. Over in Michigan, the Michigan legislature is taking Governor Gretchen Whitmer to court over the lockdown. And there's a lot going on right now with defiance of lockdown orders. I got to admit, we got this story about this 77-year-old man. saying cops will have to carry me out in cuffs. Michigan barber 77, ticketed for reopening during lockdown, vows to keep cutting hair and says, I don't need Governor Whitmer to be my mother. I can make these adult decisions myself. So I want to go back and I want to focus on what's going on with this salon owner, because I really do think this is the most shocking and egregious display of abuse of authority we've seen. But I bring up this other story in Michigan because the other stories, it's not working. The lockdowns are failing, and you can see who the tyrants really are. So you have the attorney general dragging this judge saying, you can't do this, right? This is an abuse of power. He said something, here's a quote. I find it outrageous and out of touch that during this national pandemic, a judge in a county that actually released hardened criminals for fear of contracting COVID-19 would jail a mother for operating her hair salon in an attempt to put food on her family's table. That's amazing. The trial judge did not need to lock up Shelley Luther. His order is a shameful abuse of judicial discretion, which seems like another political stunt in Dallas. He should release Miss Luther immediately. Luther had said before the judge, I have to disagree with you, sir. When you say that I am selfish because feeding my kids is not selfish, I have hairstylists that are going hungry because they'd rather feed their kids. So, sir, if you think the law is more important than kids being fed, then please go ahead with your decision. But I'm not going to shut the salon. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hear, hear. Not quite as impactful as, give me liberty or give me death, but perhaps a rallying cry nonetheless. I will not shut my salon. Freedom. No, I really do respect it. Maybe in the future, we'll look back at stories like this to the people who said, I have done nothing wrong, rejecting these absurd and ridiculous laws. If the salon continues to operate, the judge ordered Luther to pay $500 each day through May 8th, which is when Texas will allow salons and barbershops to reopen. The defiance of the court's order was open, flagrant, and intentional, Moyer wrote in his decision. The defendants, although having been given an opportunity to do so, have expressed no contrition, remorse, or regret for their contemptuous action. Good. This is a country founded on defiance of nonsensical and absurd laws. And I got to be honest, there's actually even arguments about the laws the founding fathers and the other colonists were defying. Whether or not it was right to pay the taxes, whether or not they deserved representation. Well, we certainly seem to think they did. And that's why we came out, on this side of things. There were a lot of people who didn't think so. But come on, man. Telling a salon owner not to do hair and you're going to put him in jail because of it is one of the most shockingly absurd things that I believe will go down in American history. The period in which judges were like, doing someone's hair, lock him up. Yeah, sorry, that's ridiculous. So it looks like she gave a press conference. Luther pictured holding her citation and speaking to the media after she was cited by City of Dallas. Now we have the Texas Lieutenant Governor offering to pay her fine. Now this one's a little silly because he's like saying he'll take her place, kind of. He'll serve her sentence, but under house arrest. Oh, that's very kind of you. If she doesn't go to jail, I'll stay home for a week. Bro, you're already staying home. We're under lockdown. Everybody's basically under house arrest already. But I appreciate the sentiment. Before we read this, I'm going to give a shout out to myself. Many people have repeatedly asked me questions about what I mean when I say go to youtube.com/Timcast because it's a different channel. The channel you are on right now listening to is youtube.com/Timcast News. There's another channel you can see up here in the top, youtube.com/Timcast. Don't ask me why YouTube did it this way. I honestly have no idea. This is just how they've structured the, whatever. But it is a different channel, so make sure you check it out and subscribe because I do put up videos every day at 4 p.m. They're basically the same thing, a little different, a little more in depth. But there's a huge overlap. There's a huge gap between the people who watch this and don't even know I have two other channels. So check it out if you'd like. Subscribe if you have not. Let's read what's going on with this Texas Lieutenant Governor. Fox News says, a judge in Texas was vindictive and showed no mercy and no compassion when he gave Dallas salon owner a choice between closing her business or spending 7 days in jail for violating COVID lockdown. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick shared his views during an appearance on Fox News at night. Earlier Wednesday, Patrick tweeted he was willing to pay salon owner Shelley Luther a $7,000 fine and be placed under house arrest to serve her sentence so she can go to work and feed her kids. And Luther decided to serve time behind bars rather than comply with the shutdown order. I know it sounds silly because she's just a salon owner, but man, do I got mad respect for her standing up to this. There are so many people in this country every day that are locked up or punished by the state who broke no laws. I wonder how many people are truly innocent, but they're pressured due to something called a jury tax or a trial tax, where the prosecutors will actually say, you know what? It's a slap on the wrist offense. But if you take this to trial to try and prove your innocence, which is your constitutional right, we're going to slap you in the face with the book as hard as we can. And I've experienced this, being threatened with months in jail for something I didn't do, and they said just plead guilty, and I said no. Nope, sorry. I'll take my chances on the jury. I don't care. I stand up for what I believe in. And guess what happened when I said no? Boy, were they pissed off. Oh, they were angry. One of the prosecutors actually shouted upon hearing from my lawyer that that I was refusing to take a plea offer. Nah, I'll take a trial. And it was a slap on the wrist offense. It was disorderly conduct, which I did not do. They lied, false arrest, and all that stuff. So they were angry. Just plead guilty. Nope, not going to happen. And so, sure enough, because I said no, they dismissed the charges. But how many people every day are scared? They say, listen, man, if you go to trial and try and prove your innocence, your constitutional right, we are going to make you suffer. And then your lawyer says to you, I don't know, man, it's a big risk. You might actually go to jail for a long time. They're offering you a sweet deal and people just say yes. And then you end up with a mark on your record and you said you did it. You said you were guilty. Never do it. I mean, you can look at what happened with Michael Flynn. They forced him to plead guilty on something he didn't do. At least that's what the evidence suggests. They tricked him. They manipulated the whole thing and they threatened his family. I can understand, man, going after a man's kid to get him to plead guilty, and it worked. I don't know. I'd never do it. No, sorry. You know, in Chicago, there was this big scandal where they were apparently like electrocuting people to force confessions. Man, this country's got problems. I'll tell you what. So over in Michigan, however, so again, moving on from there, because this story is much bigger than just, this salon owner. My respect to the salon owner, Shelly. What's her name? Let's get her name right. Shelly. What did they say? Do they have her name here? Why? Shelly Luther. Much respect, Shelly Luther, for standing up for what you believe in and refusing to back down because you've done nothing wrong. The governor can't just decree things. Our governments aren't supposed to work that way, especially in Texas, of all places. Now we're seeing what's happening when the Michigan governor tries to defy the law. These people are breaking the law. And this is the really annoying thing to me about how the law works in this country, is that if someone does something that's like, I don't know, they slap you in the face, the cops come and just arrest you. No indictment, no grand jury. They're like, you're under arrest. We saw that. But when a governor, when a politician, when a corrupt corporate officer, when they break these more complicated laws, what happens? Long, circuitous arguments, indictments and grand juries show up to the dude's place, put him in cuffs. This woman has broken the law. You can't do this. And all of the police who are just abiding by a decree are breaking the law as well. Now, they're going about it the appropriate way. The Michigan state legislature is going to court. This is kind of how the country is supposed to work, checks and balances. So I can respect how the legislature is taking action on this. But man, we really can't live in a society where executive authority just goes around arresting people, locking them up, and violating their constitutional rights. And yes, I understand Donald Trump and illegal immigrants and all that stuff and all those arguments. Yeah, sorry, we're not playing that game. The point is, take them to court, fight over it. This I actually respect. The Daily Caller says, Republican Michigan House Speaker Lee Chatfield announced Wednesday that the state legislature is taking Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer to court over her lockdown in response to the COVID-19 panic. We've attempted to partner with our governor, but she's rejected. We've offered cooperation, but instead she chose court. This was avoidable, but today we filed a lawsuit in our state to challenge her unconstitutional actions. The law in Michigan is clear and nobody is above it. Good. Now listen, there's a big difference about when it comes to Donald Trump, immigration, detainment, and all that stuff. Donald Trump was seeking to get funding for the border wall. This is very different from, say, arresting people and fining people who are breaking no laws. Trump did not decree the law. Trump is enforcing existing law. There's a big difference. Now, I'm still down for the argument. Absolutely, 100%. And that's why they've taken Trump to court on these things. And Trump has taken them to court on these things. And Trump has won some and he's lost some and there's back and forth. I respect that process. But for a governor to come out and say, regular American citizens, law-abiding peoples who want to give haircuts, we're going to fine you. Nah, you can't do that. You can't just create a law and start telling people you're going to arrest them or fine them for it. They go on to say the lawsuit seeks a speedy hearing and hopes Michigan's Court of Claims will assess that Whitmer's ongoing emergency orders are improper and invalid under Michigan law. The Detroit News reported Wednesday. Last Thursday, Democratic Michigan governor extended her state's lockdown until May 28th and increased her executive powers, which caused many to protest. People don't seem to get this. You know what, man? There's a dude in Indianapolis who live streamed himself fleeing from the police in his car. And I don't know the full details. All right. I'm not gonna look. You guy was running from the cops. The police. He gets out of the vehicle, yells something. The cops say that he fired at them. They fired at him. Dude lost his life. About 100 people protested. Awesome. Protest injustice. I appreciate it. Now, can we? Is governor going to come out and complain about these people not social distancing or wearing masks who are coming out and protesting? Is the media going to complain that these protesters are risking their lives and everyone else's, and they don't even know what happened in this case? I mean, here you have a story where apparently this guy was live streaming himself flee from the police. Why was he doing it? I mean, look, I understand injustice. I understand violation of authority. Maybe there's a conspiracy afoot. I really doubt it. The best thing you can do when, like, and lawyers typically advise this stuff, if you're going to be arrested, calmly comply. Now is not the time for a fight. You lose when you do this. You win when you shut up, when you put your hands behind your back, let them arrest you, go through the process. And you know what? It sucks. And we got serious problems with this. I don't like that at all. I don't like the idea of people falsely arresting other people, but you calmly do it. Then you seek action. Then you file suit. But when you flee in a car speeding and stream yourself, this is when problems are up. I don't want to get into all that whole debate. The point I want to bring up is protesters came out and they were protesting what they said was injustice, chanting no justice, no peace. Where are the complaints? Where are the smears, the lies? They say all these protesters just want haircuts. The people showing up in Albany and Michigan. No, the people protesting in Michigan are mad. The governor just gave herself more power. That's horrifying. Why would anyone support that? Everyone's got to protest that. It's not about getting a haircut, but that's what the press will tell you. They will defend the authoritarianism and the tyranny of the executive branch. Mind-blowing, isn't it? Whitmer claims Republicans who control the state legislature are endangering lives by encouraging the state lockdown to end, where there is still a risk of infection from the coronavirus. I'm pretty sure the statement was give me liberty or give me death, not give me liberty or give me death, unless, of course, a virus could get people sick and we need to remain safe. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. You can't just expand your own powers because you claim, well, people need to be safe. Yeah, people need to be safe from a lot of things. Okay, what if this logic? I understand the coronavirus is novel. I understand the coronavirus in a 1 month's time has killed more people than the flu did in 4 months' time. It's serious. We understand this. But that doesn't give you the right to increase your powers. You can't just be like, well, as governor, I've decided I should be allowed to do whatever I want. Signed right here on the dotted line. Why are the police adhering to that? That's what's crazy. This is truly the scariest thing. You know, I'm not a big fan of playing in violating Godwin's law. But you wonder about World War II and why the soldiers just did what they were told. Here you go. I know it's not the same thing. But the point I'm bringing up is that when you get someone in power who says they have the right to do something, and the law enforcement agents or the soldiers or whatever just say, okay, you've got very serious problems. Perhaps what we need to instill in our law enforcement to protect ourselves from things that could actually be compared to World War II, because this certainly couldn't. But perhaps what we need to do to protect ourselves from this rampant abuse of power by people who blindly break the law. And mind you, the police officers who are going around arresting people, they're breaking the law. When you arrest someone for protesting or worshiping, you are breaking the law. I'm not saying statutory law. I'm talking about the Constitution, the law of the land, right? I know some legal experts will probably argue with me. I'm not a lawyer. But maybe we need these officers to function under the courts or something to that effect. Someone who won't give them direct orders. So when Governor Gretchen Whitmer says, from now on, you can't do this, the police turn to a judge immediately and say, what's the ruling? Because you can't just, I don't, you know, maybe it doesn't make sense. The point of the executive branch, I don't know, the states are somewhat different, is to be able to respond rapidly. But for police officers to just be like, well, we understand the Constitution says the government's not allowed to do it. We're going to do it anyway. Well, that can't work, can it? So at a certain point, I wonder, do we even have a constitution anymore? I mean, you can argue the Supreme Court rules on things. Look, man, the Constitution is a piece of Swiss cheese right now. I'm not trying to disrespect it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a piece of Swiss cheese. I've argued in the past, I mean, times change. They really, really do. And it does make sense to fairly reassess where we are with the current Constitution. And we've done that. And we do that. It's called amendments. We've made many, and many are very awesome. But right now, you have to wonder about shall not be infringed. The right of the people to peaceably assemble, the right to bear arms. The Third Amendment never really comes up. You know, what is that? To be free from soldiers from quartering in your house or whatever. The Fourth Amendment. All these things are being violated. And again, I've been critical of Brett Kavanaugh over his stance on the Fourth Amendment. I feel it's very archaic, not understanding the true depth of how the internet and metadata and all these things work. But that's a whole other debate. The point is, does it even matter at this point if they're going to keep arguing they can infringe? So we end up with a Supreme Court who says, well, in this particular instance, this isn't infringement. We're going to take away some of your rights. I mean, it strictly says the right to do this isn't it, but we're going to interpret it differently. It's like they're looking at it, scratching their head saying, what does shall not be infringed mean? Well, a lot of people you'll see on the left, and I made this mistake in the past too, say that you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Apparently you can. That's a misconception. You have your free speech. So look, people are defying these orders. They're falling apart. And so what I find strange in this whole thing is that, you know, you've got in Florida, you've got in New York, you've got in Los Angeles. People are ignoring these orders. They don't care. But then you see these business owners in these specific states in Texas and in Michigan, and they're getting fined and targeted for this. Meanwhile, people have basically stopped abiding by this in other states as well. It's just not working. I know a lot of states are slowly starting to reopen, so that's the best part. I guess this stuff won't really matter. But I want to make sure that we stand up to authoritarians who try to extend their authority and power, demanding you apologize to them. The salon owner, she's in violation of the law. Fine. Well, actually, she's not. She's in violation of governor decree, which I wouldn't respect. And the judge said, I'll fine you for it. Okay, fine. All right, I get that. But then threatening her with jail time for not apologizing, that's tyranny. Apologize to me or else. Nope, sorry, buddy. Ain't going to happen. So we'll see how this plays out. But I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel, and I will see you all then.